A wonderful sight for Blue Jay fans. That's Roy Halladay warming up. He'll go tonight against the Chicago White Sox. It's the first of 4, and it's here on Rogers Sportsnet. Good evening and welcome. I'm Jamie Campbell, joined by Pat Tabler. Glad you've joined us tonight. It's the White Sox and Blue Jays on Rogers Sportsnet, and it's the return of Roy Halladay. Pat, he's back after 3 weeks. He had an appendectomy on May 11th, and you're supposed to be out for about a month and a half, but hey, Roy is one of those guys who wanted to come back early.
Nothing that guy does amazes me anymore, and to a man, the Blue Jays have said after last night's ball game, it was a tough loss. Having the big guy out there tonight really feels good.
The Blue Jays have lost 16 games in May, but they haven't lost many since he left, so he's coming back at a great time.
You know, I was able to throw pretty quickly afterwards, so, you know, I feel like, you know, I've kind of been involved in you know, throwing quite a few bullpens and simulated games, so it doesn't really feel like it's been a huge layoff.
His timing is terrific because he's going up against the only guy to throw a no-hitter this year.
Yeah, Mark Buehrle, this is his 6th try at trying to get number 100. He has a loss and 4 no decisions since his last win. And for Buehrle to be successful, he's got to keep the ball off the plate. He's been getting too much of the plate, and he hasn't been mixing his pitches very well either.
Both of them are well known for being innings eaters. Both of them well known for working quickly in a game, and both are going after a milestone victory tonight. The 100th victory of their careers. With more, we take it down to Sam Cosentino, who has a few friends.
Thanks, Jamie Campbell. We are at the Deerhurst Resort Ladies Night Out. It will fill up as the game moves on, but our focus will be squarely on the dock tonight. And during his 3 weeks off, he thought about putting a new touch on an old pitch.
Really, all I'm trying to do is just get on the side of the ball better. So, you know, normally I'm here with kind of a 4-seam grip, and all I'm doing is just pulling my finger back, and that just kind of allows me to get more on this side of the ball and get the ball to cut, where you know, lately I've had some problems just not getting on the side. It's coming off more like a sinker and backing up on me, so I'm really just trying to get, you know, as much as I can on the side of the ball and get the ball going the other direction.
Well, if you take a look on the grip on the left, that's the old grip. The new grip on the right, you'll notice that the index finger has been pulled off a little bit. That puts more pressure on the second finger, and hopefully that'll get him more towards the side of the ball, get that cutter moving in towards the left-hander or away from a right-hander.
And Halladay altered the grip on the advice of Sal Fasano. Big Sal will catch him next at the Rogers Center. 20 days after suffering from appendicitis, there's the doctor. He's back. Roy Halladay returns tonight to face the White Sox, and his numbers are brought to you by Nikon's D40 and D40X, your first choice in digital SLRs.
Remember, he was expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks following that surgery 20 days ago, but here he is making his 9th start of the season, and boy, this guy just amazes me. The determination to want to go out there and compete. It is something, and you can see why he is such a leader of this pitching staff. Roy Halladay making the start tonight against Chicago.
Well, let's look at the lineup he'll face tonight as the White Sox come in, having been swept in Minnesota. They'll send Darren Erstad, a 32-year-old veteran, to the plate first. Tadeguchi is the second baseman. Jim Thome has missed about a month with a strained rib cage. You see him there. He bats third. Jermaine Dye, Paul Konerko, A.J. Przinsky, Joe Creedy, the third baseman, Rob Makoviak in left field, and Juan Uribe is the shortstop. So Ozzie Guillen's men are in a bit of a funk as they enter Toronto, losing 4 in a row. And Erstad takes the first pitch, a strike from Halladay. We're underway.
One of the problems that the White Sox have had in this little bit of a losing streak that they haven't been able to swing the bats. Last in the American League in batting average, averaging just under 4 runs a game. This from a team that hit all kind of home runs last year and scored a ton of runs. Third in the major leagues last year with over 860 runs scored. Right now they're bringing up the rear offensively in the American League.
Here's the 0-2 to Erstad. He swings and misses. 3 pitches in, and Halladay gets a strikeout.
Could it be the cutter? Let's take a look right here. Sure looks like it. That one actually started on the outside part of the plate, and watch it just dive, and Erstad swings right over the top of it. Boy, that looked like the Halladay from a couple of years ago right there.
or even earlier this year. He got off to such a terrific start, winning his first 4, but the last 2 outings have been disastrous for Halladay. Here's Tadeguchi, the second baseman.
Yeah, those 2 starts, you could just tell something was not right with Halladay. 10 in the 3rd innings and 23 hits.
Tadeguchi lines this shot down the right field line. And poorly played out there by the ball boy, I might add. He'll receive a smattering of boos from the crowd here. Still many just filing in. The 0-2 pitch. That's down and away.
Tadeguchi has been battling a little bit of a finger problem, and that's why he has been robbed of his extra base power. Have some problems trying to grip that bat. He will not make any excuses saying my finger's fine, but you just take a look at the stats and there they are right there. Just 3 RBIs in 8 games and he's hitting a $118.
Muscles that one out towards center field. Wells was playing him deep. He comes in and watches it drop. So Tadeguchi picks up a base hit as we check out Toronto defensively.
Well, Vernon Wells will be flanked by Lind and Rios in the outfield. And Troy Gloss, after missing the last 2 starts with those legs problems, is back into the lineup tonight. He'll have Johnny McDonald on his left. Hill and Overbay will play on the right side. And Sal Fusano will be behind the dish catching Roy Halladay.
The White Sox bring up their 36-year-old designated hitter, Jim Thome. And Thome has missed a chunk of time. We talk about the Blue Jays losing so many players to injury. Hey, the White Sox played without this guy for about a month.
Yeah, they missed Podsednik, their leadoff hitter. Jim Thome out of that lineup for a while.
A strained rib cage sent him on the disabled list on April 29th. He returned May 20th. Taguchi's on the run. It's grounded to Overbay. They'll take it to first base and get Thome for the second out.
You know, we talked about them struggling to score runs, and you got to start that runner over at first base. Ozzie Guillen trying anything to get this offense going, even through the shift. Taguchi takes off, and it's a nice play by Overbay, reacting off that bag and taking a hit away from Jim Thome.
2 out and a man at second for Jermaine Dye. There's Gloss at third. And there go the White Sox in the first. Halladay gives up a hit, but he is left on base. Alex Rios to lead off when we continue on Sportsnet. Let's take a look at the Jays lineup before Mark Buehrle goes to work. Alex Rios leads off as usual these days, and he's been hitting well. 11 home runs so far. Overbay number 2. Wells, Gloss, Thomas, Hill, Lind, Fasano, and McDonald, the starting 9 for Toronto. Vernon Wells 11 for 20 career against the left-hander on the mound for the White Sox, and that is Mark Buehrle. And this is Alex Rios hanging one up there in center field. 2 men over for it. Erstad takes it. Quickly one away.
Hey, Mark Buehrle will work very quickly, you know, and on top of him looking for a career win number 100, he's looking to stop a 4-game team losing streak. He's trying to end a little bit of a losing slide personally since beating Kansas City on April the 23rd. He's gone 0-1 with 4 straight no decisions, and he's become kind of an Iron Man for Chicago. Became the first pitcher in club history to make at least 30 starts for 6 consecutive seasons. So he's not a big guy. He doesn't throw very hard, but you can count on him, and he's done the job for the last 6 years for Chicago.
But he's an innings eater, and he has the only no-hitter of the year. Thrown back in April against Texas. Lyle Overbay bats second. Overbay going 0 for 5 last night against the Yankees. We've been talking about it all year long. He's been hitting for high average against left-handers. And he slaps that one foul over the Blue Jays dugout.
Well, the most important thing, if you are a left-handed batter facing a left-handed pitcher, you got to keep that front shoulder in. You cannot have that start to leak. And I don't think you can look for certain pitches. You just have to look for the ball. You have that breaking ball going away from you. If you start to leak out and have that front shoulder open up, you are going to strike out.
Inside pitch, he gets Overbay to swing, and Buehrle picks up the strikeout. 2 down.
Well, they have to be on their toes when Mark Buehrle's pitching, so let's take a look at the defense in left field with Scott Podsednik on the disabled list. Rob Makoviak has gotten most of the playing time, and the former Angel Darren Erstad in center field with Jermaine Dine right. Creedy, Uribe, Uguchi, and Konerko around the infield.
Long throw from short gets Wells. 7 pitches thrown by Buehrle. He gets a quick 1-2-3 in the first. Let's get the scouting report on Halladay.
Well, his determination is unmatched, I think. To be able to do what he has done physically and get back here and compete, it is amazing. How long will he go? You know, we asked John Gibbons that before today's game. He said he's not on a pitch count. You know, we're just going to have to watch him and see how he is. And, you know, I don't think they know what to expect from Halladay. And we've already talked about that new cutter. We saw that in the first inning. It looks pretty good.
And the guy who advised him on altering his cut fastball, as you look at the numbers on Konerko, is crouched behind home plate, Sal Fasano. It was a simple mechanical adjustment that Halladay made on the advice of Sal. And he's 0-2 on Konerko, and at the knees, he seems so comfortable with it, and was like a kid at Christmas when he revealed to Brad Arnsberg that it was working for him in a bullpen session not long ago.
Just simply taking that index finger and just moving it back just a little bit more, so the pressure of the ball coming out is more on the middle finger to get that tilt on that cutter. You know, guys kind of stand around and they talk and they kind of have their ideas, and when you get guys from other organizations who've been around other pitchers and they start having all this information, it can really help you learn something from another guy.
Grounded up the middle. That'll get past Hill. Konerko with a single as he opens the second inning.
This is Halladay from what Konerko's going to see from behind home plate.
Well, whatever it was that was bothering Halladay, it certainly affected him in his previous 2 starts. May 5th down in Texas, he gave up 12 hits over 5 1/3. On May 10th here at the Rogers Center, 11 hits surrendered to the Red Sox in just 5 innings.
You know, if you watched any of those games also, a lot of his pitchers were very flat. They didn't have that tremendous movement that we have seen from Roy Halladay over the last few years. You know, a ball that goes here or a ball goes that way and it dips, and things were elevated, and you can just tell something just was not right.
The 2 clubs, Texas and Boston, combined for 17 runs against him in 2 games. Unheard of when Halladay's at his best. And shortly thereafter, he went on the disabled list with an emergency appendectomy, and here's the visual proof.
Just 5 strikeouts in those 10 innings. He's always good for about 1 an inning.
2 strikes on the batter, A.J. Przinsky. And this one shot to first. Overbay starts the double play at second. Back to first, they get it. Maybe the most difficult one to get, the 3-6-3. And they pull it off beautifully.
But it helps when you have the first baseman playing behind the runner. Konerko does not run very well, and you can see Overbay positioned perfectly to take that big hop. And it also gives him an angle to make a throw to the shortstop on the outside part, the glove side of the shortstop. So a good throw by Overbay, and the relay by McDonald is an easy 3-6-3.
Joe Creedy looks at a breaking ball for strike 1. And Creedy, an exceptional defensive third baseman, has been bothered this year by a pair of herniated discs. And there's some rumbling around the White Sox that they may have to go to the minor leagues and pull up a highly touted prospect by the name of Josh Fields.
Jack Creedy has been struggling with that back problem for the last couple of years.
He goes down very quickly, striking out. Halladay watches his pitches dance in the second against Creedy. Mark Buehrle works so darn quickly. We better get that scouting report in a hurry.
And look at that first note right there. He likes to work quickly. We've already seen that. Now he will cut and sink his fastball, and he's most effective when he's throwing it to the corners. And he will throw that changeup anytime, any count. So Blue Jay batters have to be ready for that changeup, and it's a good one. He's got very good arm action on that curveball and on that changeup. And when he's throwing it for strikes, it makes his fastball that much tougher.
It's wonderful to see Troy Gloss back in the lineup. The last few days he's been bothered by a sore hamstring, and that's why you saw Howie Clark make the start last night. Of course, Clark was front and center in his first game back with the Blue Jays in the latter innings of the ball game after a somewhat controversial situation where Alex Rodriguez clearly called him off on a pop-up over near third. And you know, Pat, I wonder if A-Rod would have done that if that had been Troy Gloss playing third base.
We were talking about that before the game. You know, if Troy Gloss is there, does he do that or take advantage of the youngster? Well, not the youngster, but young in terms of playing the game here. Kind of kidded with him before the game. I said, how are you here one day and you're already stirring the pot up a little bit, huh? One day. You know, there's nothing he could do on that. I mean,
no.
You know, Johnny Mack has the priority over him being the shortstop. And he heard it and backed off of it. And the sad part about it is Scott Downs gets 3 earned runs on it.
And even Brian Wolf in his major league debut picks up an earned run. So his ERA is 27.00. I mean, it should have been 0. 3-2 pitch over to Creedy. Quickly one out. Speaking of third baseman, let's review that play last night with Posada popping it up, and watch Clark. And listen.
Sure sounded like mine to me, didn't it?
Well, the proof is right there. We'll talk about that at times throughout the broadcast, but first, let's examine Frank Thomas as he faces an old teammate in Mark Buehrle. 16 years with the White Sox before heading for Oakland last year as a free agent. And he sends this one into right field for Jermaine Dye. And Buehrle has retired 5 in a row. Now, John Gibbons went out last night after that play and tried to discuss things with the umpiring crew. And in the book, it clearly states that offensive interference is an act by any team at the plate which interferes with, and look at the final line there, or confuses any fielder attempting to make a play. So it's up for interpretation. Confusion could be caused any way, and certainly verbally.
Physical confusion. And yeah, you know, when you look at the rule like that, and that's right out of the Major League rule book right there, I think it's pretty clear cut.
But the umpires last night, Mike Riley was the crew chief, and working at third was Chad Fairchild, said to John Gibbons that the rules in that instance did not come into play. There's Hill sending it to center field, and he has really laced this one. Erstad back towards the wall, and it is out of here. Oh my goodness, Aaron Hill has now hit his 8th home run of the year.
And it's an absolute bomb to center field by Aaron Hill. It shows you just how strong this kid is getting. You don't need to pull the ball to hit one out here. Go down and get it. And he does just that. Stays back behind the ball, lets his hands do all the work, and look how far that ball
goes. So the first hit for the Blue Jays is a round tripper against Buehrle. And they jump out on top here. Adam Lynn bats with 2 out in the bottom of the second inning. That's a power source from Aaron Hill that has just started to refine itself this year.
Remember a few years ago, everybody was wondering, is Alex Rios going to become a home run hitter? And we kept saying, you know, give him a couple years and let him learn the league and learn the pitchers.
This one down the line, and that ball is hooking into the corner and foul. Boy, that didn't miss by a whole lot. But you're right, Rios 2 years ago, people were saying, well, where's the power? And Mickey Brantley told you and told me, just wait.
Just wait. You know, let him learn the pitchers, let him learn the league, let him get a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. And, you know, we've seen what he has done this year. And same thing with Aaron Hill.
Here's a grounder for the second baseman, Iguchi. So the Blue Jays pick up a run on Aaron Hill's 8th home run, and they lead the White Sox after 2. Down the first base line, enjoying the big comfy chairs in the TD Canada Trust Comfort Zone tonight. The Jays Care Foundation grant recipients Ronald McDonald House, courtesy of TD Canada Trust. First pitch to Rob Makoviak is sent into left field, a base hit. So that's the way the White Sox begin the third inning here at the Rogers Center. I'm Jamie Campbell, along with Pat Tabler and Sam Cosentino.
If you're going to get them, you got to get them early. We're speaking of Halladay and Makoviak. First pitch swinging just out of the reach from Troy Gloss. Sprays the ball all over the place, does Makoviak.
The 9th hitter is Juan Uribe. Halladay has given up 3 singles in the ballgame so far.
Uribe will chase pitches out of the strike zone. He is very susceptible to off-speed pitches off of the plate.
And he goes the other way with that one into the corner. Makoviak got a pretty good jump, so he's heading for third and will hold there as Uribe picks up a double. None out, and the White Sox have a couple in scoring position.
See, you can see what they're trying to do up there now. The first pitch they see, they're just going to go up there and start swinging because it might be the best one in the sequence. This one down the right field line. The other way goes Uribe with the double.
So Halladay will face a left-hander in Darren Erstad. Doc struck him out in the first. Erstad spent 11 years with the Angels before coming here to Chicago as a free agent. And he hops one over to first. Overbay coming to the plate. Fasano blocks it, and he tags out Makoviak. Why not? If you think you're going to get him, do.
You're right, and especially if you have an arm like Lyle Overbay does. He's got a very good arm, and it's very accurate. And boy, the White Sox might have run themselves into some trouble here. The ball's hit hard, and you can see just for a second Makoviak kind of hesitates a little bit at third base. He doesn't come right away. There's the ball hit. He kind of hesitates, not real sure. And you're right. At the plate, that's an excellent play right there by Overbay. Good heads-up play.
And Fasano's like a wall behind the plate too, so good luck to Makoviak, who's slightly built, trying to find room to reach the plate. One out, first and third. Uribe advanced to third. Quickly there goes Erstad. Fasano with the chuck, and he got him. Oh, Sal Fasano with 2 big plays back-to-back as he throws out Darren Erstad. And here comes Ozzie Guillen.
You know, and Sal saying, you know what, I'll take this one myself. I'll block the play to get the first out, and then quickly throws a strike to Aaron Hill covering. Throw beats him, and you can see he tags him. We're not sure if that right hand got in there, but the throw beat him, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to be called out. So the defense right now picking up Roy Halladay after the 2 hits to lead off this inning.
Ozzie Guillen is one frustrated manager right now, and not just because of all of this. His team has been losing in many different ways. They lost in the bottom of the 9th yesterday in Minneapolis after their reliever walked Torrey Hunter with the bases loaded.
2 outs, bases loaded.
David Artsma was on.
Right. It's been kind of a mystery, this team. I mean, some of them have been talking about maybe the window is closing for their opportunities to win. I mean, this is a team last year that won 90 games, one of 6 major league teams last year that won 90 games, but they were not one of the 8 guys or teams to make the playoffs. Amazing. 90 wins and you're not in.
Well, guys, I want to touch on the fact that that first pitch swinging is a statistic that has hurt Roy Halladay this year. You look at Makoviak and Uribe, both with base hits on the first pitch. Into this year, hitters 14 of 38 for a .368 average when swinging off Doc off the first pitch.
I know if I'm going in there against Halladay, I'm looking for a first pitch fastball because it might be the best one to hit. I don't want to fall behind Halladay and try and hit that slider or curveball or cutter or whatever. Give me a fastball.
3-1 to Iguchi. Grounded to short, and how about this? The White Sox get second and third with nobody out, and they cannot cash a run. Sal Fasano was announced as the batter and gets a warm applause from the folks here at the Rogers Center, and rightly so. He was the defensive star of that top half of the inning. Throwing out Darren Erstad, blocking Rob Makoviak, helping prevent the White Sox from scoring.
Here's the first one, over Bay. Now, would you want to slide into that? I know I would. And then watch how quickly he gets rid of the ball, and it's a strike. Jason Phillips made a peg like that last night's game. That was a thing of beauty. That one right there, Fasano getting a big second out. 1-1. He rips it foul. Fasano with 1 home run this year. That came in Texas back on May 4th, a game the Blue Jays lost 7-1. It was the only run they picked up when he went deep against Brandon McCarthy, once a top prospect for this White Sox team. He goes down swinging, and we have an update from Jim Lang. Top 2 teams in the Central there are the Indians and Tigers. Detroit in second by 2.5 games. There's a guy who played briefly for the Tigers 2 seasons ago, John McDonald. And the Indians.
That's true too. He had a big night at the plate last night, going 2 for 3 with a double, a home run. He scored twice. Little roller out to second. McDonald is thrown out. His home run last night was the first of the year for Johnny Mack. He told me a funny story. Apparently relatives were watching the Yankee broadcast, and Paul O'Neill was doing some commentary and said that the best thing to do with John McDonald, because he has no power, is to throw him one right down the middle and hope like heck he doesn't get a double. And at the moment he said it, McDonald hit it out, and O'Neill then responded by saying, "Clearly I have no idea what I'm talking about."
That's why he's in the booth, right?
That's exactly right. No respect for John McDonald.
Get some now.
Alex Rios is the batter. There's the ball. Rios has 11 home runs. And that is more than anybody else right now playing leadoff in either league, the American or National. But he strikes out here. Down go the Jays. A 1-2-3 for Buehrle. Hey, tonight is Ladies Night Out, presented by 104 Chum FM. And the next one coming up Thursday, June the 21st, against the Dodgers at 7 o'clock. All kinds of giveaways, discounted tickets, and afterwards, a special Baseball 101 session with some of the Blue Jays players and coaches. Tonight after the game, Adam Lind and Casey Jansen are going to join the gals for some baseball talk.
Nice.
At a local establishment.
One pitcher, one hitter, so they have it all covered.
Yeah, both young guys. And neither one of them married, as far as I know, and that's a good thing. I mean, it's good that they're going to be going out with all those women and they're not married. We won't go there. Here's Roy Halladay dealing with Jim Thome. 2 balls and a strike. Thome came up in the first inning and grounded sharply to Overbay.
Had a runner on that time, and we did not see the Thome shift. But now with nobody on, we see Aaron Hill playing a short right field against the left-handed hitting Jim Thome. John McDonald, the shortstop, is playing pretty much straight away second base right now. Look what Thome has to look at.
Down and away from Halladay, 3-2. Thome right now tied for 25th all-time in Major League history with 478 home runs, the same number that Manny Ramirez has. Full count pitch is fouled back. So you've got 2 guys in this game chasing 500, and 2 guys who will get there with ease. And if this guy goes on a run, he might get there this year.
Set the franchise record for home runs for a left-handed batter last year for Chicago. 42 home runs last year from that side, and that just added on, and like you said, he's getting closer and closer to that 500.
Thomas last hit one in Minnesota on the weekend off Scott Baker. Thome rolls this one weakly at John McDonald. So there goes the DH, and here comes the right fielder, Jermaine Dye.
That's not a ground out to the second baseman. I got to get my white out. Because he was on that side, I just force a habit, put down 4-3, but that's a 6-3.
We've had this conversation before. Dye is the batter, and you talked about the power outage for the White Sox this year. 200 runs scored for the team, by far and away last in the American League. They're the only club in the AL with less than 400 hits as Aaron Hill goes up and gets one. Wasn't hit that hard, so he had some time to get to it.
Yeah, and I think he broke his bat. Jermaine Dye shattered it off the end of the bat. This is where scouting really comes in. You can see how Aaron Hill is shaded with the right-handed hitting Jermaine Dye at the plate, shading him up the middle. And it looked like it was going to be a base hit because he was positioned perfectly. He takes a hit away from him. So
the big hitters in the 3, 4, and 5 spots for Chicago right now are a combined 1 for 5 against Halladay. That one coming from this man, Paul Konerko, who singled in the second inning. He was then erased as the Blue Jays pulled off a 3-6-3 double play on a ground ball by the man on deck, A.J. Pierzynski. Last night we had Brandy Halladay as a guest up here as she was helping promote the food drive that starts tomorrow through Sunday at the Rogers Center. Please bring, if you're coming to the game, a non-perishable food item. And she was saying that Halladay was going absolutely snaky being on the bench and not being able to get ready for a start. So things will be better at home now that he's pitching. And look at him pitch there to Paul Konerko, striking him out and picking up his 3rd strikeout of the night. A 1-2-3-4 for the doctor. Hey, the General Motors Home Run Challenge is on. If one of the Blue Jays hits that display in center field, one of our 20 semifinalists today will be a winner of their choice of an automobile. It could be the Pontiac G5 or the Chevrolet Cobalt SS. We do this every night here at the Rogers Center. So if you'd like your chance to win in the General Motors Home Run Challenge, please visit BlueJays.com. Jamie Campbell, Pat Tabler, and Sam Cosentino with you tonight from the Rogers Center. Great of you to join us. It's a beautiful night again for baseball. The roof is open here, considering it was raining a good portion of the day here in Toronto. It's great to see the clear skies. Never hurts to watch a baseball game in Toronto with a good view of the CN Tower. Lyle Overbay 0 for 1 after striking out in the first. Buehrle has been excellent as you look at that beast out there in right field. Just giving up the one hit, but it happened to be a home run from Aaron Hill, which is why the Blue Jays lead this. It's a foul ball. Pierzynski says, wait a second here, and points at the marks in front of home plate. But he's not going to win this argument with Tim Timmons.
Yeah, that is his call all the way. And he was pretty emphatic about it also when it bounced out in front of home plate. And it's where Pierzynski touches the ball. Not if he is in fair territory, not where he is. It's when he touches it, where the ball is.
And what a diving stab from Paul Konerko, getting it to Buehrle. As Konerko stretches out and saves that ball from going into right field.
Tough play for a right-handed throwing first baseman. You got to reach across your body and backhand that ball, and then have the presence of mind to throw a strike to the pitcher who is covering. Nice job by Konerko. He smothers it and throws it to Buehrle in plenty of time to get Overbay.
The batter, Vernon Wells, now, who went 2 for 11 in the Yankees series. On the final day of May, has just 1 home run this month. And he grounds out to the third baseman, Grady, dug out there by Konerko for out number 2. Sam Cosentino is with us.
Well, Jamie, it's funny that Vernon Wells actually let a pitch go by. He said in the previous meeting with Buehrle, he faced him in 3 at-bats, had 3 pitches and 3 base hits. He swung at the first pitch here tonight in his first at-bat, and there he waited one. It was a little outside, and go figure, he swings at the second pitch. So guys know when guys like Buehrle and Halladay are on the hill, try and get after him early in the count, as Pat mentioned earlier in the game.
And the Blue Jays have 2 very good hitters struggling right now, Wells and Thomas. When either one of them starts to heat up.
You know, and Vernon wears out left-handed pitching. Last 2 years he's been doing that. This year he is now under 300 versus the left-handers. Blue Jays as a team have handled the lefties this year. They're 10-5 versus those southpaws. But usually the guy at the head of that has always been Vernon Wells.
Moss. He sends it foul, 1-2. This man pitched a no-hitter April 18th against Texas. The first by a member of the White Sox since Wilson Alvarez at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore in '91. Eric Cooper was working the game. He worked behind home plate last night in that Yankee game. But what an outing. He retired the first 13 hitters, issued a 1-out walk to Sammy Sosa in the 5th, and then promptly picked him off, so he ended up facing the minimum. There's the 2-2. Rolled to the shortstop, Uribe. Down go the Jays again without much of a fight. A 1-2-3 for Buehrle in the 4th. We've completed 4. It's 1-0 Toronto. Energizer Photo Day is coming up on Sunday. I wonder if you have technology like this. We'd like to remind you that the gates open at 11 a.m. Photos are taken between 12 and 12:25, so make sure you arrive on time and bring your own camera too. That one is fouled off the foot of A.J. Pierzynski, so he'll limp away for a minute and get another chance. Pierzynski opens up the 5th here against Halladay. The Blue Jays are on top 1-0. The White Sox have yet to score on 4 hits. The Blue Jays with just 1 hit, but it was Aaron Hill's 8th home run of the year. We saw Alex Rodriguez causing a little controversy last night. This guy seems to do it once every 3 weeks. In Minnesota this past week, he was accused of running down the first base line not once but twice and stepping on the foot of first baseman Justin Morneau as he lines it to right field and picks up Chicago's 5th hit of the night. He's not the most popular guy in the American League, that's for sure.
Right. That ball that's down, he digs it out and starts it off with a single here. It looked like a fastball that Halladay turns over. In that game you're talking about, Ron Gardenhire, the manager from Minnesota, went out and got hot.
Exploded.
But AJ supposedly went and talked to him. Remember, he played for Minnesota for about 3 or 4 years. Played with a lot of those guys. And Gardenhire says, I heard his explanation and I'm happy with it, and that's the end of that.
That brings up Creedy. Pops it up, foul ground, and Overbay, right at the coach's box, takes it, 1 out.
He's giving up his base hits tonight, but he's making pitches when he has to. That sequence right there to Joe Creedy was very good. Kept inching that ball away. The longer he went into the count, forcing Creedy to swing at a ball out of the strike zone.
Well, Makoviak now takes a big cut. The Blue Jays have moved Tomo Oka back into the rotation, but only briefly. Because of an off day Monday, they're going to maintain a 4-man rotation for a very short time. There's the 1-1 to Makoviak inside. So the weekend here sets up this way: Halladay tonight, Burnett tomorrow, Dustin McGowan Saturday, and then Sean Markham on Sunday against Chicago. The There goes the runner. Brzezinski is sliding into second, and he is thrown out by Sal Fasano, who has gunned down yet another would-be base stealer.
You know, and we were talking how the Chicago White Sox have struggled to score runs, so Ozzie Guillen is trying to force something here. You can see an obvious hit and run in Makoviak when things are not going well. You see Pierzynski get thrown out, Makoviak swinging and missing that hit and run pitch. And Pierzynski is an easy out at second base.
Well, guys, I find it odd that Ozzie Guillen is running this much so far, although that was a hit and run there. When talking to him before the game, I asked him how the complexion of his team changes with Podsednik out. He said, yeah, not only are we missing him since the first week of the year, but Pablo Ozuna also out. And so he says we're a slow team right now.
And they're not happy with Rob Makoviak striking out. Another chance goes to naught for the White Sox. Frank Thomas is 6 home runs shy of 500. If you pick up the new Frank Thomas 500 home run flex pack, you'll be also picking up a limited edition Frank Thomas 500 home run baseball and a chance to win a jersey signed by the Big Hurt. There's the phone number to call. 341-1234 in the 416 area code, or for more information, check out BlueJays.com.
You know, John Gibbons is hoping history repeats itself with Frank Thomas. Last year about this time when he was with Oakland, as he pops this ball up, it looks like it's going to be playable. Last year at this time on May 22nd, he was facing his former teammates for the first time, and he had about the same kind of stats as he has now, 7 home runs and 20 RBIs, and he got off in that series versus Chicago last year. 4 for 9, a couple of home runs, and he ended up with that big season. But he doesn't get it done here in this at-bat as he pops up.
It was the meeting against Chicago that got him going,
right,
and sent him on his way to a tremendous year with Oakland. Finished 4th in the voting for the most valuable player award. And who knows, we've got 3 more games after this one. Perhaps seeing some old friends might inspire Thomas. As Hill bangs one again to center field. There goes Erstad right back at the track, and that one falls short of the wall. But for the second time tonight, Aaron Hill goes deep into center field. This one stayed in the park. The last one went out.
Looked like an instant replay. About the same spot, but about 20 feet too short. Drives the ball to center field. Maybe he got that off a little bit off the end. And he knows about right there that that's just a fly ball to center field. Can of corn, as the Hawk says.
Ken Harrelson, who's just off to our right, calling the broadcast for the Chicago White Sox. Here's Adam Lind. Boy, you take away Hill's home run in the second, and Mark Buehrle has no hit stuff tonight.
Yeah, he has the ability tonight, it looks like, to throw to all quadrants of the strike zone. He is keeping the ball out of the middle of the plate, something we talked about in the opening.
Grounded sharply to first, picked up by Konerko, and yet another 1-2-3. Buehrle has retired 10 in a row. I'll tell you, Pat, if there are a few people walking in here late right about now, they've just realized they've missed 5 innings.
2 pitchers who are on their game tonight. Halladay has got himself into trouble, but he has found his way and pitched his way out of trouble. Mark Buehrle has only made 1 mistake. You just mentioned it last inning. The home run to Aaron Hill is only mistake.
Sent foul by the number 9 hitter Uribe, who doubled in the 3rd. As expected, a pitcher's duel, and it's a dandy so far. Halladay against Buehrle. Here's the man who made the final 2 outs to win the World Series for the White Sox 2 years ago, their first since 1917. He swings away on strike 2. That penultimate out was sensational. He went into the first row of the stands at Minute Maid Park in Houston. Catch a pop-up in the style of, say, a Derek Jeter. But the White Sox that year were on their way in September towards an historic collapse, but they managed to win the final 5 games of the year. They swept Cleveland, who was hot on their heels, and really toughened up to win the World Series. There goes Uribe. Timmons calls a foul tip, and it's caught by Fasano.
No argument from Uribe. Sinker in, and that ball is tipped, held on to by Fasano. You watch him kind of show the home plate umpire after he catches the ball nonchalantly. Just said, oops, there it is, right there.
The understated Sal Fasano. So Halladay gets the first out of the 6th inning. Great pitch there, lots of movement. Strike 1 on Erstad from Jamestown, North Dakota. We know he's a good ball player. He was a good enough football player to be the punter on the 1994 national champion Nebraska Cornhuskers. And get this, according to Travis Hafner, who I spoke with a month ago in Cleveland, Darren Erstad was Mr. Hockey in the state of North Dakota one year, which I guess is like the best high school hockey player award in the entire state. Swings and misses.
I think he hurt his ankle or something, and they are calling for him to come out quickly. Here comes Herm Schneider, the head trainer, and he is in some kind of pain. You know, I don't know if his spikes got caught and it snapped his ankle or his Achilles tendon, but he went right down, and home plate umpire Tim Timmons called him out there quickly. He's going to come out of this ball game. Watch Darren Erstad go after this ball and just fall straight down. It looked like the front leg.
Something just seemed to give on the follow through.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like he rolled it.
There goes another Chicago White Sox.
It was in fact that back leg of Darren Erstad, that plant foot.
Luis Torrero is in the on-deck circle, and he's going to put a little pine tar on his bat and come in and take the place of Erstad. They have lost Pablo Osuna, as Sam Cosentino mentioned earlier. He broke his fibula on Sunday. Podsednik has been out for some time with a strained right groin. He's not expected back until the middle of June. Jim Thome was gone for a month. They've had all kinds of problems in the outfield with the injury to Podsednik, the inability to adapt to major league life from Brian Anderson. He could play some outfield, but he couldn't hit worth a lick, and now they lose their center fielder.
And leadoff hitter, a guy who is starting to come around, had an on-base percentage over 300. He has driven in 21 runs from that leadoff spot. And just a hard-nosed, tough type of player. He went right down, and I don't think we're going to see him the rest of this series.
I would agree with that. There's Torrero, who signed as a free agent with this club back in November. He spent 3 years off and on with Arizona. Got into 27 games with the Baltimore Orioles last year. Some of our Viewers in Ottawa who are baseball fans might remember him playing with the Ottawa Lynx a year ago. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and he takes 1 swing and strikes out.
I was going to say, do not throw him a fastball first pitch. He's got 2 strikes on him. He inherits the count. So you spin one up there and you get yourself an easy strikeout.
Tad Iguchi, the second baseman, goes after a Halladay pitch and misses.
He injured that left index finger back on April the 8th versus the Twins, and it has nagged him for 2 months. .220 batting average. No extra base hits since May the 19th for Iguchi.
That swing from Erstad looked so innocent initially. Doesn't look like a bend or a break. It appears that maybe something inside during the swing simply snapped. There's the 1-2 up and in.
And Herb Snyder, the trainer, looked like he was feeling around that Achilles tendon area, and that's what could have happened. I've seen that in baseball. Players take a full swing and they uncoil and they snap that Achilles tendon. Let's hope it's not that serious.
This ball hit high and not deep to left field. Adam Lind will camp under it. And Halladay will see the White Sox go down in order. Chicago losing Darren Erstad along the way. The roof is open tonight at the Rogers Center as we enter the bottom of the 6th inning. I'm Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler and Sam Cosentino. The Blue Jays will send up their 8, 9, and 1 hitters to face Mark Buehrle. Sal Fasano fouls it off. He'll be followed by John McDonald, and then we'll see Alex Rios. It's a 1-0 lead for Toronto in the first game of this series. They'll play 4 and finish up Sunday. Mark Buehrle has been simply sensational through this game. His only mistake, giving up a home run to Aaron Hill with 2 out in the 2nd inning. Fasano pops this one up over near the first row of seats there. Canerco has it. And we've got an update from Jim Lang. And if you can, get down to Shea Stadium for a ball game sometime soon, because like Yankee Stadium, it's not going to be around much longer. They are constructing a brand new facility right next door. So 2 new stadiums are under construction in New York. And if you're coming from out of town, Shea has got to be the easiest place to get to. Just find a flight to LaGuardia and take the 5-minute cab ride.
You fly right over it, right?
You do. 1 out for John McDonald.
Little cat and mouse here between McDonald and Buehrle. Johnny Mac steps out here, and then he steps back in, and Buehrle's ready to pitch.
Nice stab, Buehrle, as he throws out McDonald.
He had a little hockey goalie leg kick there on this. Watch Buehrle as he takes care of this comeback. Whoa, he's going to try and kick save that thing.
That's Ray Emery right there. Kick save and a beauty.
Well, Pat, Jamie, you look at the way Mark Buehrle's working tonight, and I think you have to credit a lot of the success, the ability to get that leadoff hitter out in every inning over the course of this season. On base percentage just .213 when leading off an inning, and it's worked here tonight so far.
It has. He's been terrific. Needed just 9 pitches to get the Jays in the 6th. Well, we'd like to say thank you for promoting Sportsnet Connected coming up next. Normally it would be the next scheduled program, but Halladay and Buehrle are working so quickly we might have to find fill programming. Or at least bonus coverage with Jim Lang back at the studio. This game could be over in about half an hour the way these two are working. Top of the 7th inning. Jim Thome is the batter. Jermaine Dye and Paul Konerko to follow. Thome right now 0 for 2. And he has reached base in 26 consecutive games, trying to keep that streak alive.
Thome not happy with that call, thinking that that ball was off the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Casey Janssen warming up. Remember, they're going to let Halladay go as long as he feels he's comfortable. He certainly looks like he's comfortable, throwing his 66th pitch here and missing outside.
Yeah, and I think John Gibbons will lean on Sal Fasano tonight. He's got the best seat in the house. He's sitting back there catching Halladay, and he will let his manager know what his stuff is doing here late in the game. Does he still have good crispness on his pitches? And if he feels that he's getting tired and the stuff's not there, they have Casey Janssen now warming up just in case.
He got him looking. Jim Thome goes down on strikes. You can hear him imploring with Tim Timmons that was down.
He has always had a good eye, Jim Thome. But Halladay right there, right on the corner. Thome is going to plead his case with the home plate umpire. You know, you put that in the back of their minds right there. So maybe if he comes up another time tonight, he'll get that pitch the next time.
Strike 1 to Jermaine Dye. He's also 0 for 2. Facing Halladay here in the 7th inning. I mentioned earlier Tomooka works out of the bullpen for now. He will start again 1 week from this Saturday at Dodger Stadium against Los Angeles. So Roy Halladay will take advantage of that off day, and his next start will come on Tuesday night here in Toronto against Tampa Bay.
The one thing that I notice about Halladay tonight, as opposed to his last 2 starts, he's got that good breaking ball. It was very flat in those last 2 starts as Dye sends one right back through the middle. Curveball stayed on a plane, the hitting plane. His fastball wasn't doing much, but tonight he's got that breaking ball back. 7 punch outs, and this is a ball that skips right underneath his right foot. Stay away from those legs.
And Halladay punches his glove as if he was disappointed with not knocking that ball down. I think that's the best thing that could have happened. Let it go through. Don't take a chance on breaking that leg again. Strike 1 on Konerko. A single and a strikeout tonight for the first baseman. One year ago, he hit 30 home runs and went over 100 RBIs for the 3rd consecutive season. The 0-1 pitch drifts foul, so he'll fall behind 0-2. This guy hit a grand slam in Game 2 of the World Series 2 years ago. It's the only one ever hit in the history of the White Sox in World Series history. Halladay's locked in on 0-2. Tries to get him to bite outside.
Got to make a pitch here. With all these guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, they are never out of a game. We just talked about Konerko and his ability to hit home runs. He has to make a pitch here. Keep it on the ground. Guy with a lot of power, and Paul Konerko, he really understands the strike zone, and he can really work counts. The book on him is you can get the ball inside on him, but you can't miss because he has so much power. But you can see how patient he is at the plate as he works this count.
Dies off on the move. The roller back to Halladay. He'll play it to first and get the second out. Back again tomorrow with game 2 of this series. Javier Vasquez, a right-hander, goes for Chicago. A.J. Burnett, who has really picked it up in the absence of Halladay, goes to the mound for the Blue Jays. So join us again tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And I don't think A.J. agrees with this move. You can see him shaking his head. John Gibbons is going to go out and get Roy Halladay.
Well, I don't know if he's made a move yet, because he might be going out there to talk to his big pitcher, saying, hey, this is your last guy here, or this is what we're going to do. Let me give you a little bit of a break here. Maybe get the crowd into it a little bit.
Caught me by surprise. I mean, you know, John Gibbons is one of those guys that when he goes to the mound, he's going out to give you the hook. We've seen a lot of different managers who will go out and speak to their pitchers.
Well, he obviously had something to say that he wanted to let Halladay know in this situation. Maybe it's to say, hey, you know, Pierzynski's a pretty good RBI guy. He always has a way of coming up with big hits. You got a base open. I know he's the go-ahead run, but you have a right-hander on deck that you can handle. So we'll see what happens. You can tell from that shot right there of Halladay that he has really put in a nice work. Nice work. I look at him sweating and breathing a little bit harder, taking a little bit more time in between pitches.
The cheekbones are glistening. But it's muggy out here tonight, too. After a brief rainfall earlier today. 1-1 to Pierzynski with Dye at second base. And that rolls foul. So Halladay will get A.J. right where he wants him. 2 strikes on the catcher, 2 out. In the top of the 7th inning, and the Blue Jays up 1-0. Should do it. And there go the White Sox. They'll leave a man in the 7th. And Toronto takes a 1-0 lead to the bottom of the inning. As always, it's time now for the Dynamic Funds game review, brought to you by Dynamic Funds. Invest with advice.
Yeah, just what we thought, a pitcher's duel between Buehrle and Halladay. 7 punch-outs for Doc in his 7 innings. No walks between either one of them. And really, all the offense so far tonight has been generated by Aaron Hill with that home run in the second.
Mark Buehrle is twirling a one-hitter, but it was a big one. And what the Blue Jays could do now in support of their starter is pick up a run or two here against Buehrle. But first, they're going to have to figure out a way of actually getting a base hit against him. Overbay has not been able to do it, grounding out and striking out. So the guys who can really swing the bat are coming up, with Wells and Bloss due to follow him. And another ground ball here. Taguchi plays to first, 1 down.
Yeah, he is throwing it on the inside and the outside, and he got Overbay on the fastball right in on the hands.
The General Motors Home Run Challenge is underway. If you log on to BlueJays.com and enter, you could be a winner of a Pontiac G5 GT or the 2007 Chevrolet Cobalt SS. Here's Vernon Wells. Takes a strike. Mark Buehrle, as we touched on, well known for working quickly. 2 years ago, he completed a game in 1 hour and 39 minutes against Seattle, which was the fastest game thrown by a Chicago White Sox since Jim Cott lost to the Tigers at Tiger Stadium in 1 hour and 38 in 1975. And look how quickly he gets rid of Vernon Wells.
3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15 in a row now for Buehrle, and he's doing it with all his pitches. Up, down, away, add, subtract on your pitches, sliders, changeups, curveballs, fastballs. He's doing it masterfully.
Based on what we've seen here tonight, how in the heck has this guy not won a game since April 23rd?
Their offense has struggled.
Yes.
He has left a couple of those starts with the lead, and the bullpen has coughed up the lead for Mark Buehrle. He's also left 3 of those starts with the score tied and picked up no decisions.
And this past off season, you saw Barry Zito cash in as a free agent. Here's the next guy that's going to go to the register. Mark Buehrle is in a contract year. He's on the open market at the end of this season. Two balls and a strike to Gloss. That was a good pitch to hit, but Gloss grounds it foul.
A little 3-1 slider from Buehrle. Just messes up the timing a little bit to Troy Gloss. And then you throw a slower pitch curveball. As a hitter, you're standing in there saying, okay, now what do I look for? It's like it's going to be a fastball away.
For strike 3 to end the inning. 16 in a row set down after the Aaron Hill home run. It remains 1-0 for the Blue Jays. I didn't realize Elton John had tickets to the ball game tonight.
I think he looks more like Jerry Springer to me. I don't know. Just kidding.
Either way, he's watched a dandy. And after 96 pitches, Roy Halladay will see his night come to an end, and he'll give way in the 8th inning to Casey Janssen.
And he'll give away to a guy who leads all relievers in holds with 7. We'll need a big outing here in the 8th inning. Casey Janssen, when he is right, he is pounding the strike zone and pounding it down low. Last pitched a couple of days ago against New York. an inning, a couple of hits, and no earned runs in that game. When he's throwing that fastball down and that slider down, he can be tough on righties.
He gets 2 quick swings out of Joe Creedy, the only 2 relievers who didn't work for the Jays last night. Casey Janssen, one of them, and the closer Jeremy Accardo, the other. So that sets up beautifully for the Jays here with the 8th and 9th innings to come. Bottom third of the order for the White Sox. Creedy at the plate. Makowiak and Uribe will bat against Janssen. And there goes Creedy as he strikes out. And Janssen picks up where Halladay left off. Take a look at the line on the dock as he returns from 3 weeks away.
You know, I don't know if I would have said, yeah, 7 innings, no earned runs, no walks, and 7 strikeouts. I would have said, no way, no way, 20 days after having the surgery. But the guy never ceases to amaze me what he can do because he's so strong mentally, determined to go out there, and he just, he was outstanding tonight.
Sent foul by Makowiak. He's 0-2. Here's the guy who stung Scott Baker yesterday with a 2-run home run in Minnesota. Janssen now unofficially the setup man with this club. As he throws and gets a ground ball. Moss backs off and gets rid of Makowiak at first. A 5-3 for the second out. It's funny how we look at things. We examine how the team will shape up in spring training, and then things don't exactly shape up that way. Well, Casey Janssen, being such a effective member of the bullpen, was not expected when they kicked off spring training down in Dunedin. But here he is with 8 pitches to get 3 batters in the 8th inning, and the Blue Jays are hanging on to a 1-run lead. Back at the Rogers Center, Jamie Campbell, Pat Tabler, and Sam Cosentino on Ladies' Night Out, which is why we haven't heard a whole lot from Sam this evening. He's been busy socializing and reporting. It's a combination of the two tonight. And what a ball game we've witnessed as Frank Thomas hits a bomb to left field, and you can kiss that one goodbye.
Make that 2 mistakes now that Mark Buehrle has made tonight. No doubt about it for Big Frank. Extend those arms through. And this one had some great sound and some great distance. And that's a big run.
It certainly is. Buehrle has handcuffed the Blue Jays. Every one of them prior to that at bat, except for the guy now standing at the plate, Aaron Hill, who also hit his 8th home run of the year early on in this game. But a major turn of events here as the Blue Jays pick up a very important run. During that commercial break, I turned to our Sportsnet.ca columnist Scott Carson and said, can you find me the last major leaguer to throw a 1-hitter and lose? Because it was starting to shape up that way. Don't need to worry about it now. No, I mean, he's good, but he's not that good. So with that home run, Frank Thomas ties Edgar Martinez with the most home runs by a designated hitter at 243. So a milestone for Thomas as Hill strikes out. And maybe that home run is going to help Roy Halladay achieve a bit of a milestone tonight with his 100th career victory.
Right. We have Frank Thomas here. Harold Baines is here. Some of the better DHs of all time in the house tonight. Here's Buehrle's pitch that just sinks on the inner half, and Hill swings right over the top of it.
Well, we talked about it, what, 3 or 4 innings ago. Maybe that's what Thomas needs, is a good series against the team he played with for 16 seasons.
Kick-started him last year.
Yeah. There goes Lynn. As order is restored here, essentially, as Buehrle starts getting guys out via the strikeout or the ground out. So 2 out, Sal Fasano starts to dig some dirt near home plate. The closer is up, and he's got an extra run now to deal with. One and one to Fasano. Rolled on the ground to Creedy. He's got some time to make this play, and does. At the end of 8, it's the Blue Jays 2 and the White Sox nothing, and Frank Thomas is now 5 home runs shy of 500 career. This one was never in doubt. You look at Jeremy Accardo, the closer for the Toronto Blue Jays, with a chance to pick up one here against the Chicago White Sox.
Big numbers, 1-0, 1.16 ERA, is working in his 22nd game, 5 for 6 in save opportunities. He suffered that first blown save in Minnesota 5 days ago when they got him for 4 hits and 3 earned runs, but he came back with a very solid outing his last time a couple of days ago against New York, an inning, a couple of hits. Accardo, he has had the equalizer working this year, and that's the split finger against left-handers. They're hitting .098, just 4 for 41 against Accardo this year, and I think it's because his splitter has been devastating this year.
So in the 9th inning, he'll face the leadoff man substitute, Luis Torrero, who came in the 6th inning after Darren Erstad went down with a bit of a freakish injury, and he pops up his bunt, caught by Accardo, quickly one away.
That could have been scary just for a little bit because Fasano's coming hard, Accardo's coming hard, but at the last minute he calls off the catcher and he peels out of the way and gets the first out here, a big first out here in the ninth.
Always good to get that first one out. And Iguchi is 1 for 3. Bats in the 9th against Accardo. The Blue Jays with just 2 hits tonight. Mark Buehrle is on the cusp of pitching a 2-hit complete game and losing. The last time the Blue Jays won a game with only 2 hits, you've got to go back to August 30th of 1999 when they defeated Minnesota 2-1. Tony Fernandez had a single in the 1st inning as Iguchi fouls it away, and Tony Batista a home run in the 2nd. That's all they got in terms of hits, and managed to pull off a victory. What more can the guy do?
Yeah, nothing you can do right now. He's done his job. Tough game sometime when you only make 2 mistakes all night. And you might have to swallow a loss, but we'll see. Tomei is looming on deck, and Dye and Konerko, and when they have guys like that who can power the ball out of the outfield and out of the ballpark, it's never over.
3-1 to Iguchi. A few minutes ago, I was talking about the surprise of Casey Janssen and his position with this club unexpectedly. Remember early on in spring training, Jeremy Accardo was questionable to even make this club as he gets Iguchi to fly out to right field.
Impossible to even think about that right now.
Yeah.
The way he is throwing the baseball.
It's crazy. But he had a slow start to spring, and there was talk that maybe he wouldn't even break camp with the club, and now he's closing. And he's 1 out away from picking up his 6th save of the year, but he's got a pretty tough customer coming up.
And because he throws so hard, John McDonald, the shortstop, is playing a little bit straight up, not in that pole mode that we saw in Tomey's last at bat. Here at Rogers Center, that fastball registers 97 miles an hour past Tomey.
Here's the pitch to Tomey. Misses inside.
Don't start squeezing him down. Remember last at bat, Jim Thome got a little earful to his home plate umpire, Tim Timmons, and now those borderline pitches are going the other way.
And he walks Tomey with 2 out and will bring up Jermaine Dye. So the White Sox bring the tying run to the plate. All kinds of pop in this man's bat. He hit 44 home runs last year.
Troy Gloss right on that line as the third baseman. He doesn't want any ball to go by him as you take a look at that last pitch. Right at the knees and right on the outside part of the plate. Here's Gloss just hugging that third baseline. The outfield playing very deep.
Grounded, taken by McDonald, dropped initially. They get the force at second, and that will be the ball game. Wasn't a pretty ending, but Accardo picks up the save, and Roy Halladay, in his return to the Blue Jays, gets career victory number 100. What a special night for the Doctor.
Dominating pitching from the beginning to the end, right through the setup guy, right through the closer. What a job by Sal Fasano calling this game, but the story is Roy Halladay coming out here and just dominating the White Sox.
And he gets it done in 1 hour and 50 minutes. A 2-0 victory for the Blue Jays. We shall return.